Welcome back, my spooky people. Today we are talking about horror books.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel.
I want to talk about my favorite trope, which is weird town horror. If you like the show From, or if you've seen it, it is that, but in books. Basically, you're stuck in a weird town, you can't get out. It's basically about being stuck somewhere without the ability to leave, and that place has a weird secret. So it can include any of those things. It doesn't have to be necessarily a town. You can be just stuck somewhere in general, and there's something not letting you leave. I'm self-proclaiming myself the queen of this trope, this book genre. I have scraped the bottoms of every Reddit thread to get where I am today. And please, if I am missing any, tell me in the comments. I will read anything that has to do with this trope. Well, maybe not anything. When I think of this trope, I think of 3 books, really. So I'm gonna start off with those 3. The very first one being the Pines series by Blake Crouch. This is a sci-fi horror. This is what I am talking about when we are talking about this trope. It is about a Secret Service agent who has to go after his partner, and she went missing, went missing in this small little town in the Midwest, and he goes out there to look for her. He gets there and things are very weird. He can't really find her at first, but people aren't really letting him leave. And they're trying to make him stay in the hospital and get this medical treatment, and he ends up finding her, but she's acting funny. Something is going wrong, and they can't leave the town. The town's name is called Wayward Pines. This is a 3-book series. There is also a TV show on it, which does a decent job holding up to the books. The books obviously take it a little further, a little bit better, but the big reveal was shocking. I never in a million years thought that what was happening in this book would have been what was happening. It floored me. That made me a Blake Crouch fan, and now I've read, I think, like 5 other of his books. Everything he does is just great. The second up on this list is more of an author than it is of just a book, because most of his books that I have read follow this blueprint. His name is Boris. I want to say Backick or Bassick. Boris, I still haven't learned how to say your name, but Boris is amazing. He is an indie author. My favorite of his is Retown. Retown is about Jason, who is driving and supposed to be on a business trip when his car breaks down and he has to wander into this town, and he ends up dying and spawning back into the town. That's not a secret, that's on the back. He dies and he keeps respawning in the town and he can't leave. And then every time he tries to leave, he dies again. And he's trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So, but that's not the only book that Boris has written like this. He also...
Love you, bye.
Bye. Where was I? Anyway, so Boris also wrote this book called Suicide Town, which has, again, the same kind of spiel. There's certain rules to this town. When this guy gets there, it's people there that try to leave end up committing, and yeah, so why that's happening, you'll have to read to find out. But Boris also just released this 3-book series, The Town That the World Forgot, The Town the World Forgot. It is set up so similarly to From, and I know I'm going to mention From a lot. It's my favorite show of all time. And also, that 3rd book, The Town the World Forgot, is a perfect book to read right now in the winter, because it's about kind of like this never-ending snowstorm, and this town that has a never-ending snowstorm, and monsters are in the snow, and people can't get out of this town because the blizzard is so intense. So it'll make you feel freezing cold. Okay, the next one I'm thinking of is not for those of us who have a lot of triggers and need to keep horror on the light side. And that's my warning. It is called The Black Farm. This might be in my top 5 favorite horror books of all time. This book is about a couple whose child passes away. So they decide to take their own lives together. And they end up at this place called the Black Farm. And it's a place for all types of people who have also taken their own lives. But this place, it's described as a type of in-between purgatory that God forgot about. And these evil beings rule this place. It is just horrific what happens to these people. But they're stuck there. And kind of the same thing, they can be tortured for a millennia and they'll just respawn from the clouds once they end up passing away. It is just disgusting, but it was, I don't know how to explain it. It's just such a good book for people who like depravity. And I'm people, that's me. Next is the book that actually introduced me to one of my favorite horror authors. It's Hex. I have read 3 books written by Thomas. Only 3 of his books have been translated into English. You can see the rest right there. We have Hex, Echo, and Oracle. I patiently wait until he releases and has translated more books. I'm getting a little impatient and might learn a new language soon. Hex is about this town that is haunted by this witch who has her mouth and her eyes sewn shut. And she just wanders around their town, but she can spawn in anywhere. So you could be sitting and eating dinner, and she all of a sudden could just appear standing next to you at the dinner table. You act like she's not there. She does not exist. You don't speak to her, you don't touch her. You definitely don't touch her, because then you're gone, buddy. But this whole town is just fine with this. This is how they live. That's how they do things. Until these teenagers decide that they want to dig into why she's here. What's her origins? And they start trying to play pranks on her. And it tumbles and rolls and spins into some not so good stuff. This was really good. And if you liked this, the main character, one of the main characters in here, again shows up in Oracle. I loved Oracle. Oh my god. Another one that just got turned into visual media, we have The Watchers. This movie just came out in theaters, I'm pretty sure, a couple months ago, but the second book also just came out of this. So it's set in Irish folklore, and a woman is driving a bird to someone, and she ends up lost. She gets out of her car in the forest, starts walking into the forest, can't find her way back, and while she's walking, she ends up seeing this glass shack, and this woman immediately pulls her in. She's like, they're coming, you have to get in here, you have to get in here. And that's how she finds out about the Watchers, who are these creatures, unknown creatures because they've never seen them, that sit and watch them every single night. And you have to be in before it gets dark or they will take you. And that is not a good thing. So you have to watch or read to figure out what the Watchers are, but it is set in Irish folklore. This was so good. I will tell you, book 2 is better. Book 2 is called Stay in the Light, and it continued the story in such a way that made me more interested. Also, I have theories, which I should make a whole video about my From theories. There's some things in this book, and especially in book 2, that make me think that this is related, not related to, but spawned from the same ideas as the creators of From. I don't know. Long story. I'll talk about it another time. Next is the one that gave me an existential crisis. It's called A Short Stay in Hell. It's about this man who dies and finds out that he did not believe in the right religion, and so now he is in hell. Well, hell is a library. It is a never-ending library, and you cannot move on from hell or go to heaven or go wherever. I don't really know. Remember that. But you can't move on or move past until you have found the book with your entire life story down to every single detail. So most books, these people, as they're going through this library, they don't even find books with a word in it, because it has every combination of page numbers you could ever have ever. It's infinite. So these people get lucky if they find a book that has one word that's not gibberish. So basically, I think I found a book that would make me hate libraries. Then we've got American Elsewhere. This is a chonker. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this was just okay to me. This was fine. It was too drawn out. Same thing, going into a town. This woman's going there because her mother lives in this town. And quickly they find out that they can't leave. And there's some weird things happening here. Kids are taught weird things. And there's this interesting being slash God that kind of overrules the town. And I'd say the ending was good because it explained what was happening, but the middle was a little bit of a snooze. So next is Dead 11. This is about a town that is stuck in the 90s, 1994 to be exact. It's set in Wisconsin, where I'm from. And this woman is going there because her son dies and she's trying to figure out what the heck happened. And she goes, in this entire town, little province area, is stuck in 1994. And she's trying to figure out why. And it's a really good reason. It's pretty good. This was interesting. And in this trope, this was unique. Then we have The Hollow Places. I need to read more by T. Kingfisher, now that I think about this. This book was amazing. I rated this a 5 stars, and I kind of just like forgot about it. Anyways, this is about a woman who is newly divorced, so she goes to live with her uncle, and her uncle owns this taxidermy shop. So there's basically just like dead animals everywhere. And while working there, she ends up finding this portal to another dimension, world, something. It's horrifying. And as she goes through this portal, on the wall, there's something written along the lines of "they can hear you" or "they hear you thinking." So who are the they? And I don't want them to hear my thoughts. Mr. Loomis. Mr. Loomis. Loomis is our new cat. He's only been with us for about a month now. Next, but certainly least, we have The Haunting of Velkwood. I like what this was trying to do. It just didn't do it well. This girl gets called back to her hometown, which is covered in a type of mist, kind of, and it's like a shimmery, not a dome, but under the dome. But no, this is, I don't know. She gets called back there to go inside because no one else can get in. She's one of the only survivors of this weird event that happened in this town, and everyone is dead except her and like one other person. So this reporter guy and TV show wants her to go back in and experience the town. But when she goes in through the shimmery mist, the people are ghosts, but it's like they're alive. It was a lot. There was a lot going on for it being so short, and I think that's where it fell very flat. There were a lot of avenues that could have been taken, and it all kind of just fell apart for me. I will say I do not have Under the Dome personally, physically, but Under the Dome is also a very good one. I have to admit, I haven't read the book. I have watched the show. I've heard they're vastly different. I just have a huge issue, a personal issue, with reading something that I've already watched. I don't know why I can't get myself to do it. I've really tried. I really have. So now that I've watched it, I just feel like I can't go back and read it. I don't know. If I should, you can tell me. All right, 2 more. So, Darkness on the Edge of Town by Brian Keene. This is a short little one. It's about a giant black dark wall descending over an entire town, and inside the town is completely cut out from the rest of the world. And anyone that goes into the blackness never shows back up. Kind of like the movie The Mist. Like you can hear screaming. They're cut off completely. No food, no water, no electricity, TV, radio, nothing. They can't get a hold of anyone on the outside. And it's kind of their decision on what they want to do. Do they go out into this darkness to see what they can find? Do they try to make a living in the town? People in this town kind of fall into darkness and let the worst of themselves come to light. And that's putting it lightly. Last but certainly not least, we have... I'm not going to explain this to you. It's pretty much unexplainable. This is a clusterfuck. It's a story within a story within a story about a never-ending house, or a house that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And many people's venture into said house and explanations into the story of the house, and a man's descent into madness, and my own descent into madness as when I was trying to read this. You want an example about how the inside of this book looks? There you go. It's kind of like that. So you definitely need pen and paper and like a few bookmarks if you're going to attempt this guy. Realistically, I read it in 4 days. It's not that daunting if you have a lot of like focus and time to go over it. It will very much confuse you. I think it requires 2 reads, which I probably need to revisit him again. But I think it's worth reading. Now that is it for my physical collection of this weird town, stuck in a place, weird secrets trope. I don't know what to call it. That's it for my physical books. I'm sure I am forgetting some of my audios or ebooks that I have not visited or thought about yet. Anyways, we'll chat later. See ya. Oh, my knees. Oh my god, my knees. I'm not a young spring chicken.